Lake Buena Vista, Florida. Fittingly, Jack Morris reached the Hall of Fame in extra innings. Morris was elected to the Hall by its modern-era committee on Sunday, along with former Detroit Tigers teammate Alan Trammell, completing a joint journey from Motown to Cooperstown. The big-game pitcher and star shortstop were picked by 16 voters who considered 10 candidates, whose biggest contributions came from 197,087. Morris got 14 votes and Trammell drew 13, one more than the minimum needed. They will be enshrined on July 29, and fitting they'll go in together. They both began their big league careers in 1977 with Detroit and played 13 seasons alongside each other with the Tigers. The time that I've spent wondering if this day would ever come seems to be vanished and erased right now, because it did come, and it's amazing. The 6'2", YEAROLD, Morris said during a conference call. Trammell felt overwhelmed. I came to realization that it might not happen, and I was okay with that. I really was, he said. If people thought it was a tad short, I could live with that. Former catcher Ted Simmons fell 1 vote shy, and former Players Union head Marvin Miller was 5 short of the 12 needed. It's not a big surprise, Miller's son, Peter, said from Japan. I think my father's place in history is understood by all baseball players, all baseball fans, and the general public. Morris hit 254 wins and 7 more in the postseason, including his 1-0 shutout in a 10-win for Minnesota over Atlanta in Game 7 of the 1991 World Series. No question it was my defining moment in baseball, Morris said. I never thought I was in trouble, and I knew I could get out of it if I was, so I had the best mindset I've ever had in my entire on that night. Morris also pitched for World Series winners in Detroit with Trammell in 1984 and Toronto in 1992. A 3.90 career-era tops Red Ruffing's 3.80 as the highest of any pitcher in the Hall. 4 years my earned run average has been an issue for a lot of people that thought it was not good enough for Hall of Fame honors, but I never once thought about pitching for an era. I always thought about completing games, starting games, eating up innings, and trying to win games more importantly than anything else, he said. Today's generation is different. In my heart of hearts I don't think for a second that guys that are pitching, the elite guys especially that are pitching in the game today, could not do what we did. I know they could. But they haven't been conditioned to it, both physically and mentally. His 175 complete games included 20 in 1983. The entire big league total this year was 59, and no pitcher had more than 5. He said sabermetrics should not be used to evaluate his era. Now I'm getting analyzed by a bunch of numbers and things that didn't exist when I played, he said. Had they existed, maybe I would have had a better understanding of what it would have meant to not pitch through pain, to not go deeper into games on nights that I told my manager I'm fine when I wasn't. But I don't regret doing that, because if you go to the wall and never try to push down the wall, you'll never know if you can. Now 59, Trammell was a steady presence in the middle of the diamond while playing all 20 of his seasons in Detroit, 19 of them next to double-play partner Lou Whitaker. Trammell was the 1984 World Series MVP, hitting .450 as the Tigers trounced San Diego in 5 games and finished off a season in which they started out 355. A 6-time All-Star and 4-time Gold Glover. Trammell scored 1,231 runs and drove in 1,003. He batted .285 with 185 home runs and a .352 on-base average. He walked 850 times and struck out 874. Trammell never came close to election during his 15 tries in Hall voting by Baseball Writers Association of America members, peaking at 40.9% in 2016, starting at 22% in his first Hall ballot appearance. Indiana 2000. Morris reached a high of 67.7% in 2003. His next to last appearance. Trammell's next visit to the Hall will certainly last longer than his first trip to the Shrine in upstate New York. That was in 1995 when the Tigers played the Cubs in the Hall of Fame exhibition game. Wearing his No. 3 jersey, Trammell jogged the couple blocks and hurried through the Hall in 30 minutes while the teams were limbering up at Doubleday Field. I definitely want to come back someday, he said that afternoon, but I probably wouldn't go through it in my uniform. Steve Garvey, Tommy John, Don Mattingly, Dale Murphy, Dave Parker and Louise Tyant also were on the ballot. Miller, who headed the Players' Union from 196,682, was on the ballot for the 7th time. Miller sent a letter to the BUENA in 2008, 4 years before he died, saying he didn't want to be considered anymore. The BUENA annual vote on players will be announced Jan. 24. Chipper Jones, Jim Thome and Omar Vizquel are among 19 first-time candidates, and Trevor Hoffman, Vladimir Guerrero, Edgar Martinez, Roger Clemens, and Barry Bonds are among the holdovers. AP baseball writer Ben Walker contributed to this report. More AP baseball HPSAP News Comtagma Baseball Copyright 2017 The Associated Press. All rights reserved. This material may not be published, broadcast, rewritten or redistributed.